Ambassador Lisa Hayes stood up from her seat in the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council. Her face showed no emotion as she placed her communication badge on the speaking podium. The silver pin made a small click that echoed in the sudden silence. Without a word, she turned and walked toward the exit doors. Captain Eric Grant followed behind her. His hand rested near his side weapon, though he did not draw it. The 4 human security team members fell into step behind him. Their boots made a steady rhythm on the polished floor. The other aliens in the chamber stared in shock. No representative had ever walked out of a council session in its 4,000-year history. The humans had been members for only 30 years, but they had always followed the rules until today. Council Chairperson Zixtal rose from the center seat. Their 6 eyes blinked rapidly in confusion. The tall, insect-like alien's voice crackled through the translator system. Ambassador Hayes, this session is not concluded. Please return to your position. Lisa did not turn around. The large doors opened automatically as she approached. The human delegation passed through without looking back. Surely, this is a misunderstanding, Zixtal said to the remaining representatives of the 247 spacefaring species. The chairperson's antennae twitched nervously. Let us continue with today's agenda. No one noticed the small light on Earth's diplomatic console change from green to red. The simple color shift marked the severing of all communication channels between Earth and the Council network. In the hallway outside, Lisa finally stopped walking. She took a deep breath and looked at Captain Grant. "It's done," she said. "Send the signal." Grant nodded and pressed a hidden button on his uniform sleeve. "All Earth ships in Council space have received the withdrawal order, Ambassador. Operation Silent Exit is now active. How long until everyone is safely home?" 48 hours. We've been preparing for 3 months. Our people know what to do. Lisa nodded. The Council thinks this is just a protest. They have no idea. A small blue alien with 4 arms approached them cautiously. It was Delegate Prill from the Minoran Republic, one of the few Council species that had supported Earth's recent proposals. "Ambassador Hayes, what is happening? Why did you leave the session?" Lisa looked at the alien with tired eyes. "I'm sorry, Prill. Earth has made its decision. Tell your people to prepare. Things are about to change." "I don't understand," Prill said, voice trembling. "You will soon." Lisa turned away. "Goodbye, old friend." The human delegation continued walking to their ship. 3 days later, every human embassy across the galaxy shut down at exactly the same time. The doors locked. Communication systems went offline. Transport pads deactivated. In each location, the human staff had already disappeared hours earlier, leaving no trace of where they had gone. On the Central Council world of Harmonia, Councillor Drelixon called an emergency meeting. "This is unprecedented," the Elder Voss said, his gray skin pale with worry. "Earth has gone completely dark. All diplomatic channels are silent. Their ships have vanished from our space. Their citizens have disappeared from our worlds." "They are just one minor species," said Ambassador Krill of the Tauran Empire. "Let them have their tantrum. They will return when they realize how much they need the Council." Drelixan shook his head slowly. "I fear you are wrong, Ambassador. The humans have never acted without purpose. This silence is deliberate." On the other side of the chamber, Chief Analyst Vela of Council Intelligence approached with a datapad. Her hand shook as she handed it to Drelixon. "Sir, we've just discovered something disturbing. Every human-built system across Council space received an encrypted update 6 hours ago. We cannot access any of their technology anymore. And the starbase in the Proxima system reports that the entire Sol system has somehow disappeared from their sensors." For the first time in 3,000 years, Drelixan felt true fear. The humans hadn't just ended diplomatic relations. They had cut themselves off completely. And no one knew why. 6 months before the humans left the Council, Dr. Nathan Harris sat in his lab on Proxima Station. The lights were dim. Only his computer screen lit his tired face. On the screen, video footage showed alien workers on a distant planet. They were small beings with 4 arms and smooth blue skin. They worked in deep mines, pulling glowing crystals from the rock walls. "Computer, mark this as evidence file 37, Nathan said. He rubbed his eyes. "Add to the Orion Spur exploitation report." The computer beeped in response. Nathan had been collecting evidence for 3 years. The Vulpexi Dominion claimed this planet had no intelligent life, but Nathan had proof these workers were not animals. They had language, tools, and even simple art in their cave homes. The Vulpexi were breaking council law by using them as workers. And the Vulpexi were not the only ones. 6 other council races were doing the same thing on different planets. They found worlds with people who had not yet discovered space travel. Then they took what they wanted. Sometimes they pretended to be gods. Sometimes they simply took people in the night. The next day, Counselor Karen Wright presented Nathan's evidence to the full Galactic Council. She stood tall at the speaking podium, her gray hair pulled back tightly. "The evidence is clear," she said. "These are thinking beings with their own cultures. Earth requests immediate protection for all 7 worlds under Article 12 of the Council Charter, protection of pre-FTL sentient species." The council chamber buzzed with angry voices. Ambassador Grokor of the Vulpexi stood up, his fur bristling. "These are simple animals," he growled. "They can use tools, yes, but so can many non-sentient species. The Vulpexi Dominion has studied these creatures for decades. They are not people." Karen displayed more of Nathan's evidence. Video showed the blue beings creating cave paintings. Audio recordings captured their complex language. Data showed their brain activity matched patterns seen in recognized sentient species. "We propose a protection zone around each of these worlds," Karen said. "No contact without council approval. No resource collection. No interference with their natural development." The council voted to study the issue further. They created a committee. They requested more evidence. They delayed. 3 weeks later, the council approved new scientific outposts on 3 of the disputed planets. The Vulpexi would run 2 of them. The Tauran Empire would run the 3rd. Nathan was furious when he heard the news. He sent a message to Karen. "They're making it worse. We need to do more." That night, Nathan backed up all his evidence to a secure data core. He hid it in his quarters. His hands shook as he worked. Earlier that day, he had seen Vulpexi security agents on Proxima Station. They had looked at him too long, with too much interest. 2 days later, station security found Nathan's body in his quarters. The official report said he had fallen in the shower. The blow to his head was consistent with an accident. The missing data core from his computer was not mentioned. When Karen Wright heard the news, she went straight to the president's office on Earth. She placed a small data chip on the desk. "Nathan sent me a copy," she said. "And he sent copies to 20 other people. The Vulpexi killed him, but they're too late. We have everything we need." The president looked at the chip for a long time. Then she pressed a button on her desk. Her top military advisors entered the room. "How quickly can we extract all human citizens from Council space?" she asked. Admiral Julie Peters answered without hesitation. 3 months to do it quietly. Less if we don't care who notices." The president nodded slowly. 3 months, then. And prepare the silence protocol. Earth is leaving the Council. Across the galaxy, human scientists began to make backup copies of their research. Human traders completed their final deliveries. Human diplomats updated their wills. Quietly, carefully, humanity prepared to disappear. 2 weeks after the humans left, the Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representatives from all member species filled the Great Chamber. Voices rose in anger and fear. No one had expected the humans to actually leave. Ambassador Grokor of the Vulpexi Dominion stood at the main podium. His fur was perfectly groomed, but his eyes showed his anger. "What exactly do they expect us to do?" he demanded, pounding his fist on the table. Humans represent barely 0.5% of galactic trade. Their military is small compared to even medium powers like the Minoran Republic. Many council members nodded in agreement. The humans were newcomers to galactic society. They had only discovered faster-than-light travel 80 years ago. Most species in the room had been traveling the stars for thousands of years. "The humans will return soon enough," said Ambassador Trell of the Artaxian Collective. "They need our trade routes. They need our technology. They are like children having a tantrum." But Councillor Drelixon did not agree. The old Voss had dealt with humans for decades. He rose slowly from his seat, his gray skin wrinkled with age and worry. "I fear we have made a serious mistake," he said. His voice was soft, but the room fell silent to hear him. "Humans rarely act without careful planning. We should consider what they know that we do not." As if answering his question, a young aide rushed into the chamber. She handed a data pad to Chairperson Zixtal, who read it quickly. All 6 of Zixtal's eyes widened in surprise. "We have reports from across the galaxy," Zixtal announced. "Human merchant ships are declining to carry cargo. Research partnerships are being terminated. Patent licensing agreements worth trillions of credits are not being renewed." The chamber erupted in fresh debate. Most species used technology that humans had helped develop or improve. Human engineers had worked on projects throughout Council space. Human scientists had shared knowledge freely. Now it was all stopping at once. In her office on the other side of the Council building, Admiral Julie Peters watched the session on a private channel. She had remained behind when the other humans left, hidden in a secret room that the Council did not know existed. Her job was to observe the Council's reaction. "Right on schedule," she said to herself as she watched the growing panic. First dismissal, then irritation, followed by concern. She made notes on a small device. This information would be transmitted to Earth through channels the Council could not detect. Earth's president had wanted to know exactly how the Council would respond, and July had predicted it perfectly. A knock on her door made her look up. It was Councillor Nimbala of the Loraki. The tall, thin alien was one of the few who had consistently supported human initiatives in the Council. "The reports get worse by the hour," Nimbala said as he entered. "The human-designed FTL navigation systems are installed in 62% of galactic vessels. Without updates, they will become less effective over time." Julie nodded but said nothing. She had helped design those navigation systems. They had been built to require regular updates, updates that only human engineers could provide. "The Council still doesn't understand," Nimbala continued. "They think this is about Nathan Harris or the Protection Zone proposal. But it's more than that, isn't it?" July looked at her old friend. She had worked with Nimbala for 15 years. She respected him more than any other non-human she knew. "It was never just about one scientist or one proposal," she said finally. "It was about the pattern. The Council has lost its way. It protects the powerful and ignores the weak. Humans cannot be part of such a system." Nimbala's skin paled. "What will happen now?" "Now," Julie smiled without humor. "Now the Council learns what it means to lose humanity's support. This is only the beginning." Back in the Council chamber, the emergency alerts were just starting to come in. The first systems were beginning to fail. The long-planned human withdrawal was starting to show its true impact on galactic civilization. Council Security Director Ben Foster stared at the large screen in the Emergency Command Center. The holographic display showed a planet with red warning symbols flashing all over it. The Artaxian mining colony in System J4721 was in trouble. Without human technicians, their air machines were failing. The machines were working at only 40% power and getting worse each day. "How long until we need to evacuate?" Ben asked the Artaxian representative on the screen. 3 weeks at most," replied the alien. Its skin had a grayish tone from stress. "After that, the air will be too thin to breathe. We have 8,000 workers here." Ben nodded and ended the call. He turned to his team of analysts who were gathered around the main table. Their faces showed the same worry he felt. "Add it to the list," he said. "Priority level 2. A young analyst named Maya added the new emergency to their tracking system. The list was getting very long. It showed problems from all over Council space, mining colonies with failing equipment, space stations with power problems, research bases with broken computer systems. "Sir, we've received 10 more distress calls in the last hour," Maya said. "Most are from places where human engineers were working on building or fixing important systems." Ben walked to the window and looked out at the Council city below. The gleaming towers and busy streets showed no sign of the growing crisis. Most regular people still had no idea what was happening. "The humans planned this very carefully," he said, almost to himself. "They made sure nothing would fail right away. The problems are only starting to show up now, a month after they left." His second-in-command, an experienced officer named Ravi, joined him at the window. "They've been working in our systems for decades," Ravi said. "They built in ways to make things fail if they weren't there to maintain them. But they did it so carefully that we never noticed." Ben turned back to the room. "What's the pattern? Are they targeting specific species, the ones who opposed their protection proposal?" Maya shook her head. "No clear pattern, sir. It seems like they planned for failures across all Council space, but there is one interesting thing." She pulled up a new display. "No emergency calls have come from systems near the 7 planets the humans wanted to protect." Ben looked closely at the map. It was true. The areas around those disputed worlds were still operating normally. "They protected those regions," he said, "even while they set up everything else to fail." The main door slid open. Councillor Drelixon entered with 2 aides. The elderly Voss looked tired, but his eyes were sharp. "Director Foster, the Council requests your presence at the emergency session," he said. "They want your assessment of the situation." Ben gathered his data pads. "It's worse than they think, Councillor. This isn't just about broken machines. The humans built dependencies into everything they touched. They knew exactly what would happen when they left." As they walked toward the Council chamber, an aide handed Ben a new report. He read it quickly, then stopped walking. "What is it?" asked Drelixon. "The terraforming project on New Taurus," Ben said. "All the human engineers walked out 3 days before the general withdrawal. The project is now failing. The atmospheric adjustments are reversing." "Can our engineers fix it?" Ben shook his head. "The Tauran Empire's best scientists have been trying, but the humans used methods they never fully explained. They kept certain key processes secret." Drelixon's skin paled. "There are 40,000 colonists on New Taurus. They'll need to evacuate within 2 months," Ben said. "And they're not the only ones." They resumed walking in silence. Both were thinking the same thing. This was only the beginning. The humans had worked on thousands of projects across Council space. Each one could now become a crisis. In the Council chamber ahead, the representatives were already arguing about how to respond. Some wanted to send warships to Earth. Others suggested offering trade deals to bring the humans back. None of them yet understood the full scale of what was happening. Humanity hadn't just left the Council. They had quietly prepared for years to show the galaxy exactly what would happen without them. 6 weeks after the humans left, the Galactic Council gathered for its 20th emergency session. The mood in the Grand Chamber was tense. Reports of systems failing across Council space came in hourly now. Fear had replaced anger in most representatives' eyes. High Councillor Nimbala stood at the central podium. The tall Loraki's voice was firm despite the crisis. "We must establish contact with Earth," he insisted. "Send a delegation immediately. This situation cannot continue." For once, there was little argument. Even Ambassador Grokor of the Volpexi Dominion nodded in agreement. His fur was no longer perfectly groomed, and dark circles showed under his eyes. 3 Volpexi mining colonies had already been evacuated due to life support failures. "Who will go?" asked Chairperson Sixtall. The humans might not welcome visitors after our misunderstandings. I will lead the delegation, said Councillor Drelixon. The Voss have always maintained good relations with humans. I will go as well, added Mediator Thrix of the Pelin Unity. The small green alien was known for solving difficult diplomatic problems, and perhaps representatives from the Loraki and Minoran Republic. Both were supportive of human proposals in the past. The Council quickly approved the mission. Their fastest diplomatic vessel was prepared for immediate departure. Within 12 hours, the delegation was on its way to the Sol system, home of Earth. On the lunar defense platform orbiting Earth's moon, Secretary of Defense Alex Morgan watched the Council ships appear at the edge of the solar system. He stood in the main control room, surrounded by large screens showing the approaching vessels. Right on schedule, he remarked to General Olivia Campbell, who stood beside him. They sent exactly who we expected. Olivia nodded. Drelixon, Thrix, and representatives from our former allies. A smart choice. Should we answer their calls? Alex checked the time. Not yet. Let them wait. President Chen wants them to understand this isn't a simple disagreement that can be fixed with a quick apology. The Council ship continued toward Earth, broadcasting messages asking for permission to enter Earth's space. No one answered their calls. They're still coming, said a young officer at the monitoring station. Should we activate defensive systems? No weapons, Alex said firmly. Activate the boundary field instead. The officer pressed a series of buttons. Outside, invisible to normal sensors, a field of energy formed in the path of the approaching ships. It was new technology that the Council had never seen before. On the Council ship, Mediator Thrix frowned at the control panels. Something is wrong. We should be getting closer to Earth, but our position isn't changing. The ship's pilot looked confused. The engines are at full power, but we're not moving forward. It's like we're caught in some kind of space that keeps stretching in front of us. Drelixon moved to the front viewport. Can our sensors identify what's happening? No, Counselor, the pilot replied. Whatever is stopping us doesn't register on any instruments. I've never seen anything like it. For 3 days, the Council delegation remained stuck at the same relative position. Their engines worked at full power. Their sensors showed open space ahead, but they could not move any closer to Earth. They sent message after message, growing more urgent each time. They offered apologies, trade deals, and political concessions. Still, no one answered. On the 4th day, as they were about to give up and return to Council space, a single text message appeared on their communication system. Earth will speak when it is ready, not before. Drelixon read the message twice. Then he turned to the others. We have greatly underestimated the humans, he said quietly. They are not the simple newcomers we thought them to be. What do we do now? Asked the Loraki representative. We return to the Council, Drelixon said, and we prepare for a galaxy that may never be the same again. As the Council ship turned around, the crew did not notice the small Earth vessel that had been watching them from the shadow of a distant moon. Inside it, Lieutenant Sam Rivera sent a simple message back to Lunar Command. Test complete. They have the message. Phase 3 can now begin. The Emergency Council session had been going for 15 days straight when Intelligence Officer Ryan Phillips finally entered the main chamber. The human expert from the Council's Intelligence Division looked tired. His eyes showed that he had not slept much in recent days. He carried a single data pad as he walked to the central speaking area. The chamber fell silent. Every representative from the 247-member species waited to hear what he would say. Ryan was the Council's top expert on human behavior and technology. If anyone could explain what was happening, it would be him. Thank you for your patience, Ryan began. His voice was calm but serious. My team has completed our analysis of the human withdrawal and the technology failures across Council space. He touched his data pad, and a large projection appeared above the chamber. It showed a timeline of human involvement in the galaxy since they joined the Council 30 years ago. Humans have been hiding their true technological capabilities, he stated flatly. Our best assessment is that they are at least 200 years ahead of where we believe them to be. A wave of shocked whispers spread through the chamber. Councillor Drellickson leaned forward in his seat. "Explain, Officer Phillips," he said. "How could they hide such advancement?" Ryan touched his pad again. The display changed to show various human-built structures across the galaxy. My team analyzed materials used in human construction projects. The molecular structure of these materials is far more advanced than what humans officially shared with the Council. Their buildings should have lasted 50 years. They were actually designed to last 500. He showed more images: power plants, medical facilities, defense systems. Energy readings from Earth in the past 5 years suggest power production at least 40 times greater than what they reported to the Council. And most concerning of all, Ryan paused, looking around the chamber. We have evidence that humans developed their own form of faster-than-light communication, completely independent of the Council network. This caused an uproar. Every species in the galaxy relied on the Council's communication network for instant messaging across vast distances. No single species had the resources to build their own. "Impossible," shouted Ambassador Krill of the Tauran Empire. "Such a network would require technology we don't even understand yet." Ryan looked at him calmly. "Yes, that's exactly my point." When the noise died down, Ryan continued. "We believe humans have been watching us for years, learning our systems, studying our weaknesses, all while pretending to be less advanced than they really are." "But why?" asked Chairperson Sixtall. "Why would they hide their true capabilities?" "To protect themselves," answered Councillor Nimbala before Ryan could speak. "Wouldn't you do the same if you were a young species joining a galaxy of ancient powers?" They were cautious, and looking at our reaction to their departure, they were right to be. Ryan nodded in agreement. "There's more. The technology failures we're seeing were not accidental. When humans built systems for Council worlds, they included hidden features that would require human maintenance over time. But these weren't malicious traps. Each system has a backup that would activate if the Council had approved their protection proposal for those 7 planets." The chamber erupted again, this time with angry shouts and accusations. "They blackmailed us," yelled Grokor. "This is an attack." Ryan waited for quiet, then spoke again. "No, it was insurance. The backup systems would have activated automatically if the Council had done what the humans considered morally right. They gave us a choice, and we chose poorly," said Drellickson quietly. Ryan looked around the room one final time. "The humans aren't just technologically advanced. They're fundamentally different from us. They see the protection of weaker species as a moral duty, not a political choice. When we dismissed their concerns, we didn't just reject a proposal. We rejected their core values." He turned off his datapad. The projection disappeared. "They haven't gone silent because they're angry," Ryan concluded. "They've gone silent because they've decided we're not worth talking to anymore." The silence that followed was the longest in Council history. 2 months after the human delegation walked out of the Council chamber, the galaxy was still dealing with the effects. Emergency teams rushed from system to system, trying to fix failing technology. Many worlds had been evacuated. Trade routes were disrupted. The Council struggled to maintain order. Then, without warning, Earth finally broke its silence. It happened suddenly. At exactly the same moment on every inhabited world in the galaxy, all communication devices received the same message. The message bypassed all security systems as if they didn't exist. It appeared on personal screens, public displays, and official channels. On the main Council world of Harmonia, people stopped in the streets to watch as their devices activated by themselves. In the Grand Council chamber, the large display screen switched on without anyone touching them. The message was simple. It was video footage, thousands of hours of it, showing Council races exploiting primitive species on dozens of worlds. The evidence had been gathered not just by Dr. Nathan Harris, but by hundreds of human operatives who had been quietly watching Council activities for years. The footage showed Vulpexi supervisors directing blue-skinned workers in dangerous mines. It showed Tauran scientists performing tests on unwilling subjects from pre-space worlds. It showed Artaxian collectors taking artifacts from temples, while the local people bowed in fear, thinking they were gods. Every violation of the Council's own laws was documented with perfect clarity. And with each video came data, dates, locations, names of those responsible, and the laws they had broken. In the council chamber, there was total silence as the representatives watched. Some turned away in shame. Others sat frozen in shock. A few tried to claim the videos were fake, but too many recognized scenes they had personally witnessed or heard about in private meetings. Ambassador Grokor of the Vulpexi stormed out when footage showed him personally approving a mining operation on a protected world. 6 other senior representatives followed him. On Earth, in the presidential palace in New Geneva, President Laura Chen addressed humanity for the first time since the withdrawal. She stood in a simple room with the Earth flag behind her. Her face was serious but calm. "Citizens of Earth and human colonies," she began. "Today we have shared the truth with the galaxy. For too long, the Galactic Council has failed to live up to its own founding principles. It has allowed powerful members to exploit those who cannot defend themselves. It has ignored its duty to protect developing worlds." She walked to a window where the city and mountains were visible in the distance. "We joined the galactic community believing we had found equals, morally as well as technologically. We were wrong. The Council's failure to protect innocent species from exploitation cannot be tolerated." She turned back to face the camera directly. "Until the Council demonstrates that it can uphold its own founding principles, humanity will chart its own path among the stars. We will protect those who cannot protect themselves. We will share our knowledge with those who use it responsibly. And we will show the galaxy that power comes with moral obligation." The broadcast ended. Across the galaxy, people began to talk about what they had seen. Many had never known about the exploitation. Some had suspected but never had proof. Now everyone knew. In the council chamber, Chairperson Zixtal tried desperately to restore order, but it was too late. Representatives from 30 species had already walked out, following the human example. Another 40 demanded immediate reforms. The council chamber erupted into chaos as representatives realized the full impact of what had happened. Humans hadn't just withdrawn from the council, they were positioning themselves as an alternative, a moral authority, a judge. And they had just shown the entire galaxy exactly why the old system needed to change. 3 years passed since the day humans shared their evidence with the galaxy. The political landscape had changed completely in that time. A third of the council races had broken away, forming a new group with Earth at its center. They called themselves the Orion Cooperative. Another third of the species remained loyal to the old council. The rest tried to stay neutral in what had become a division across the stars. The old council had been forced to change. They created new laws to protect developing worlds. They removed leaders who had allowed exploitation. They sent aid to damaged planets. But for many species, these changes came too late. Trust had been broken forever. On a small planet in the Orion arm of the galaxy, a historic meeting was taking place. The planet had been unknown to most of the galaxy before the humans revealed its existence. Its people had a simple technology level, similar to Earth in the early 1900s. They called themselves the Valen. In a round building made of local stone and wood, Council reformist Pamela Scott met with Commander Daniel Lewis of Earth's new diplomatic corps. Around them sat representatives from 17 species. Most were from worlds that had just learned they were not alone in the universe. The humans had contacted them carefully, respecting their cultures and offering help without demands. "This is the 6th such meeting this year," Pamela said, looking around the room. "You've been busy." Daniel nodded. "These people deserve to know what exists beyond their skies, and they deserve protection while they decide their own path forward." A Valen elder spoke through a small translation device. "My people are grateful for Earth's warning about those who would take our resources. We have much to learn, but we will do so as equals, not as servants. Other representatives nodded in agreement. Some came from worlds that had been exploited for centuries. Others were from planets that had only recently been discovered. All had been contacted by humans first, before the Council or other powers could reach them. When the meeting ended, Pamela and Daniel walked outside. The 3 moons of the Valen world were rising in the purple sky. Construction was underway nearby for a new building, the headquarters of the Orion Cooperative. "Is this what you planned all along?" Pamela asked. "To tear down the Council and replace it with your own vision of galactic order?" Daniel looked at the stars beginning to appear in the evening sky. "We never wanted to rule," he said. "We just couldn't stand by and watch the strong prey on the weak. The Council had thousands of years to build something just. They failed. Now we're offering an alternative." "The Council is changing," Pamela said. "We've enacted all the reforms humans originally asked for. Will Earth ever return to the Council table?" "Perhaps someday," Daniel replied, "when actions prove the changes are real and permanent." The new Orion Cooperative building gleamed in the moonlight. Unlike Council structures, it was being built by workers from many worlds, each contributing their own skills and styles. No flags flew above it, not Earth's, not any single world's. Instead, a simple banner showed the words that had become humanity's unofficial motto among the stars: "Justice or nothing at all." Behind them, a small Valen child approached. She held up a drawing she had made. Simple figures holding hands in a circle around a blue and green planet. Daniel smiled and knelt down to her level. "What's this?" he asked as his translator converted his words. "It's everyone together," she said. "My teacher says that's what the stars are for, to remind us we're all under the same sky." As Daniel looked at the child's drawing, he thought about all that had happened: the withdrawal, the revelations, the years of work to build something new. "She's right," he said, more to himself than to Pamela. "That's exactly what the stars are for." In orbit above them, ships from a dozen worlds moved peacefully through space. Earth vessels flew alongside newly built ships from emerging species. Together, they patrolled the borders of cooperative space, ensuring that no world would ever again suffer exploitation without protection. The galaxy was changing, and humanity had led the way.